Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pope.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Pope. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause the times is the man, the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
The man, the truth.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
The man, the truth.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to the man,
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? Glad you could be here. Today is the 29th of January. We're just moving right along. This month is almost over. We have a sun sign in Aquarius and a moon sign in Gemini. Sun in Aquarius, moon in Gemini. So what does that mean? What that means is we have an air sign and an air sign. Now each one of these air signs are different. They're both air, so they're both dealing with aspects of words and actions. The things we say, the things we do. However, they're different aspects of the air. The air of the Aquarius, think of it more as something looking towards the future. Okay? You know how we've always talked about the age of Aquarius, so we're looking for that moment ahead. So it has some futuristic ideals along with it. The words and actions we take in planning our future movements. In the tarot cards, the card of Aquarius is the card of the star, which reminds us the importance of understanding the words and actions that are happening inside as well as those outside. So it teaches us to use our words like bait to put on a fish hook to throw into our subconscious mind to bring up the answers from the inside. So to use our words and the actions, and the action would be the meditation, the words are the words we use to find the answers. And think of ourselves like a computer. If we ask the right question, we'll get the right answer. It's just the way that it works. So we have that air for Aquarius, which is going on the next couple of weeks. The moon sign Gemini is all about communication. Gemini is the messenger. So this is all about the communications that we make directly. It has to do with the choices that we make in the communications that we're having. So it's a different type of air, but also similar because it is air. So in both cases, we're looking to express ourselves through the words and our actions, but each one has a little bit deeper significance of the way in which we're doing it. One is more of a personal, direct way. One is more of a futuristic way. And so if we look and understand those, kind of helps us to understand a little bit of the difference. One is the tarot card of the lovers, Gemini. One is the tarot card of the star, Aquarius. And so if we look at those differences there as well. So some of the aspects we're dealing with today. We had a square between Gemini and Neptune. This took place a couple hours ago. So we're learning the lesson from this, looking at things from a new perspective in the way we communicate. And as we move through the day, we have the sun and the moon, Gemini and Aquarius, in a nice, good, positive aspect with each other. It's called a trine. Nice, good flow of energy between the two, between all of this air that's taking place. Then afternoon, we have an aspect, a trine between Mercury, which is the ruling planet over Gemini, and Gemini itself. So a lot of communication, a lot of activity within its own sphere, which is good because all that leads to better use of our communication. As we get into the afternoon, late afternoon, 5:13 p.m., we have this sextile. It's another good exchange of energy, and this time with Uranus. Uranus is unexpected changes, surprises. So surprises in our communication and the way we deal with things and the choices we have available to us. Then as the night moves on, an hour later, Mars jumps into the mix where we have a lesson, a square a lesson with our communication, how we're going to express it, as passion or as anger, creatively or angrily, just depends on how we want to use it. But again, all of this, remember, everything is cumulative. We start to learn how we're working with the energy as we go through. The moon is having different aspects which are teaching it. So Gemini is having different teachers, instructors come in, show us how to be more effective with it. And then last here, the wounded healer, before the end of the evening, gets into the mix, and we have to learn a lesson between Gemini and the wounded healer, Chiron. And that lesson has to do with bringing forth that inner child that's hurt, communicating with it, communicating with all parts of ourselves. So there isn't anything surprising us that's hidden within. And once we get past this wall that's between the Gemini and the Chiron, now we have a lot more open communication that can assist us as we continue to move forward. On the Jewish calendar, today is 9 Shavat. 9 Shavat, the daily thought for today is called Raw Truth. Truth is simple. It has no close, no neat little box to contain it. But we cannot grasp that something that has no box, we cannot perceive truth without clothing. So truth dresses up for us in a story, in sage advice, in a blueprint of the cosmos, in clothes woven from the fabric of truth itself. And then before we can imagine what we have grasped, truth, it switches clothes, tells us another story entirely at odds with the first. It tells us new advice to go in different direction. It provides another model of how things are in which each thing has changed its place. The fool is confused. He exclaimed, "Truth has lied." The wise person sees within and finds harmony between all the stories, all the advice, every model we are told. For the Torah is a simple, pure light, a truth no box can contain. Okay. Waxing moon, 75% of the way full. Space weather, solar wind 360.6 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is quiet between 2 and 2 over the next 24 to 48 hours. Coronal hole, we do have a notice that early February we'll notice some effect from this. And here's a nice little graphic and article here. It says vast hole opened in the sun's atmosphere over the south pole. The gap, also known as the coronal hole, is colored cobalt blue in the extreme UV image of the sun from NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory. Coronal holes are places where the sun's magnetic field spreads apart and allows solar wind to escape. Streaming along open lines of magnetic force, hot gas flows out at speeds exceeding 1,000,000 miles per hour. A stream of solar wind from this coronal hole is expected to reach Earth in the days ahead. NOAA forecasters estimate a 55% chance of polar geomagnetic storms when solar wind arrives. So we can see how it comes off here and it moves in different directions, and some of it heads our way, which we're told that it shall be doing. Okay, so this big old hole is making lots of wind. And we get down here, M class is 40% at the moment, X class 10. Geomagnetic storm activity 35% in the mid-latitudes right now. High latitudes, as just said, is up to 55%. And in the sky tonight, we've got our moon getting close to full. We look up, and just a little to the right of it will be Pleiades. Below the moon, we have Orion, Orion's belt, Rigel, Betelgeuse. Okay, we see the Taurus constellation here because we're looking at that. We have the Gemini constellation here. Alright, gives you a point of reference. Just tells us the moon shines near Aldebaran, and the Hades at the dusk is shown above. Alright, there you go. That's our cosmic weather for today. The UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alrighty, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today I have several stories for you, as always. First one is Santa Fe, Argentina. UFO frightens fishermen. There's our object. There's the moon. Object in question. Villa Ocampo, Santa Fe, Argentina. Strange object was captured by fishermen who were in the river area. It is not the first time they are given these types of phenomena in the Santa Fe area. A UFO again surprised fishermen from the village Villa Ocampo in the province of Santa Fe, says Fernando's Sofi, TN and the People. In the village of Ocampo, Santa Fe, already witnessed on several occasions these aliens' apparitions. On January 5th, the UFO again surprised a group of native fishermen held in one arm of the Panara River. People who were at the Padora Phoenix of the Costa Rio were extremely surprised with this phenomena. Locals confirmed that these type of occurrences are common in the area. A few months ago, a few kilometers in the town called the Sombrieto, were found strangely mutilated animals with missing jaws. The same farmers report having seen these increasingly often placed at any time of luminous objects. Okay, interesting. Got more links if you want to follow them. Story here is woman sees UFO over Canada. Okay, a little UFO right there. The fact that this woman did record it is incredible. What I mean is we can see the movement of the UFO and it tells us a lot. The UFO moves forward and suddenly shoots back at incredible speed. No man-made object could do that. It's great. She caught it. On the site in comments, one person says, "My family and I saw this in the summer." Another says, "My husband saw it too." Another person says he managed to record the same UFO and put this video on Facebook. You can see his version of it if you click the link here. And let's take a look at right here. It's a 2-minute, 4-second video. Alright, we got the commercial going on there, and there we go. Okay, this is, let me just jump ahead here. There we go. Object in question, this is the one over Lumbee. Okay, let me move on from here. Alright, UFO filmed over Naples, Italy. A new video of a bright unidentified object hovering in the sky above Naples in Italy was filmed early January 2015. A super bright starship has been caught on the video over the famous city of Naples in Italy. Approximately over 30,000 feet, the ship cruises along the sky glowing intense white. The cameraman zooms in. As you can see, it is no aircraft of any nature. Neither is it the ISS. Okay, so very interesting over Naples. UFO captured over Hollydale Park, Southgate, California. We don't have any real descriptions, just the article itself from Yasmin Joyner, ufologist. Let's see. Okay, this is a UFO summoning event. So the question is this real or not? People go to these events and they say that these things are staged and faked. Other people say that they're very real. So, question is, what do you think? Do you think they're real? Do you think they're not? Is this a fake? Anyway, I'll leave the link available, firstcontactradio.com. That way you can check it out, see what you think. Here we have a story of New York and their history with cigar-shaped objects. Okay, object in question. It was about 10:20 p.m., June 2nd, 2000, when a couple of Mineola, New York residents noticed something in the northern sky that appeared to be wobbling back and forth. The two brothers scrambled for a set of binoculars that they had. After a few minutes of observation, one of the young men exclaimed, "It's a UFO." The other man was skeptical and thought it might be a commercial aircraft and snatched the binoculars for a look. He tells us, "I took the binoculars, zeroed in on the object. I could not believe what I saw. It was not an airplane. when the two young men observed a rare cylinder UFO that eventually turned some 30 degrees to the right and then disappeared in the haze. 6 days later, June 8, 2000, a Staten Island, New York resident witnessed a huge cylindrical UFO with an estimated 400 lights on it. My friend saw the first cylinder UFO high in the sky. It was even more visible than the moon at 9 p.m. It was a bit smaller than the moon and about 4 times wider. It was bright white, could be seen flashing lights in the bottom of the cylinder shape. It was totally silent. He told us that an additional half-dozen neighbors saw the craft, as well as a couple of police officers. A study of new National UFO Reporting Center and Mutual UFO Network data suggests that cylinder UFOs were really quite rare until relatively recently. Records prior to 1950 virtually report no cylinder UFOs. The decades of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s sport sighting levels with an average of about 2 sightings per decade. Around the year 2000, sightings began to increase a little under a dozen per year. 2009, it was as if some intergalactic spaceship dealer threw a gigantic sale, because suddenly huge cylinder UFOs began appearing in New York State at a rate of about a dozen a year, as evidenced by the following chart. World sightings for cylinder UFOs likewise have been on the rise. For example, the combined cylinder sightings from both the MUFON and New Fork for 2014 total about 258 globally, giving New York State 5% of the world cylinder sightings. I hope to continue my analysis of various classes of UFOs and the relative sighting numbers here in New York. Okay, and one more. This is the Project BlueBook. Remember how it was made available? Well, something happened. It says we recently published the news about the Project BlueBook files. They just found their way online thanks to the Black Vault editor John Greenwald. But now, about 2 weeks later, the files mysteriously disappeared. If you go to this link, all you get is this message: due to situations out of my control, the Project BlueBook material is currently unavailable. So if we click that link, there we go. But we can visit 1.4 million other declassified records at the Black Vault. So somebody changed their mind with Project BlueBook, and now I guess can't see them. Oops. What are we going to do, huh? I guess we're just going to keep believing on our own without the files. Silly humans, silly humans, silly humans. That's all I could say. All right, that's our UFO news. I'm going to jump away. I'll be back. We're going to continue on with On the Origin of the World from the Nag Hammadi Scriptures. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love.
let's continue on. So, this is On the Origin of the World. It's from the Nag Hammadi Library. I've been reading through it. I've gotten through a big chunk of it the last 2 days. I think we'll probably be able to finish it up today. So I'm going to pick up where I left off. I'm going to backtrack just a paragraph, just so we can kind of get the gist of where we're going at this point in time. So right here. So thus, when Sophie Zoe saw that the rulers of the darkness had laid a curse upon her counterparts, she was indignant. And coming out of the first heaven with full power, she chased those rulers out of their heavens, and cast them down into the sinful world, so there that they should dwell in the form of evil spirits or demons upon the earth. So that in their world it might pass that 1,000 years in paradise, a soul-endowed living creature called the Phoenix, it kills itself and brings itself to life as a witness to the judgment against them, for they did wrong to Adam and his generation, and unto the consummation of the age. There are 3 men, and also his posterities, unto the consummation of the world, the spirit endowed of eternity, and the soul endowed in the earthly. Likewise the 3 phoenixes in paradise. The first is immortal, the second lives 1,000 years, as for the third it is written in the sacred book, that it is consumed. So too there are 3 baptisms. The first is the spiritual, the second by fire, the third by water. Just as the phoenix appears as a witness concerning the angels, so the case of the water hydra in Egypt, which has been a witness to those going down into the baptism of a true man. The 2 bulls in Egypt possess a mystery, the sun and the moon being witness to Sebaoth, namely that over them. Sophia received the universe from that day that she made the sun and the moon. She put a seal upon her heaven unto eternity. And the worm that has been born out of the phoenix is a human being as well. It is written in Psalm 91, concerning it, the just man, will blossom like a phoenix, and the phoenix first appears in a living state and dies and rises again, being a sign of what has become apparent at the consummation of the age. It was only in Egypt that these great signs appeared, nowhere else, as an indication that it is God's paradise. Let us then return to the aforementioned rulers, so that we may offer some explanation of them. Now when the 7 rulers were cast down from their heavens into the earth, they made for themselves angels, numerous demonic, to serve them, and the latter instructed mankind in many kinds of error, and magic, and potions, and worship of idols, and spilling of blood on altars, and temples, and sacrifices, and libations to all the spirits of the earth, having their co-worker Fate, who came into existence by the concord between the gods of injustice and justice. And thus when the world had come into being, it distractingly erred at all times. For all men upon the earth worshipped the spirits or the demons from the creation to the consummation, both the angels of righteousness and the men of unrighteousness. Thus did the world come to exist in distraction, in ignorance, and in a stupor. They all erred until the appearance of the true man. Let it suffice so far as the matter goes. Now we shall proceed to consideration of our world, so that we may accurately finish the description of its structure and management. Then it will become obvious how belief in the unseen realm, which has been apparent from creation down to the consummation of the age, was discovered. I come therefore to the main points regarding this immortal man. I shall speak of all the beings that belong to him, explaining how they happened to be here. When a multitude of human beings had come into existence through the parentage of Adam, who had been fashioned out of matter, and when the world had already become full, the rulers were master over it. That is, they kept it restrained by ignorance. But for what reason? For the following. Since the immortal Father knows that a deficiency of truth came into being amongst the eternal realms in the universe, when he wished to bring to naught the rulers of perdition, through the creatures that he had modeled, he sent your likeness down into the world of perdition, namely the blessed little innocent spirits. They are not alien to knowledge, for all knowledge is vested in one angel who appeared before them. He is not without power in the company of the Father, and he gave them knowledge. Whenever they appeared in the world of perdition, immediately and first of all they reveal the pattern of imperishability as a combination of the rulers and their forces. Thus, when the blessed beings appeared in forms modeled by authorities, they were envied, and out of envy the authorities mixed their seed with them in hopes of polluting them. They could not. Then, when the blessed beings appeared in luminous form, they appeared in various ways, and each one of them, starting out in his land, received his kind of knowledge to the visible church constituted of the modeled forms of perdition. It was found to contain all kinds of seed because of the seed of the authorities had mixed with it, and being the church. Then the Savior created of them all, and the spirits of these are manifestly superior, being blessed and varying in election. And also he created many other beings which have no king, and are superior to every one that was before them. Consequently, 4 races exist. There are 3 that belong to the kings of the 8th heaven, but the 4th race is kingless and perfect, being the highest of all. For these shall enter the holy place of their Father, and they will gain rest and repose and eternal unspeakable glory and unending joy. Moreover, they are kings within the mortal domain, in that they are immortal. They will condemn the gods of chaos and their forces. Now the world that is superior to all the beings was sent for this purpose. The Word that was superior was sent for this purpose alone, that he might proclaim the unknown. He said there is nothing hidden that is not apparent, and what has not been recognized will be recognized. And these were sent to make known what is hidden, and the 7 authorities of chaos and their impiety, and thus they were condemned to death. So when all the perfect appeared in the forms modeled by the rulers, and when they revealed the incomparable truth, they put to shame all of the wisdom of the gods, and their fate was found to be a condemnation, and their force dried up, and their lordship dissolved. Their forethought became emptiness along with their glory. Before the consummation of the age, the whole place will shake with great thundering. Then the rulers will be sad in their death. The angels will mourn for mankind. The demons will weep over their seasons, and mankind will wail and scream at their death. Then the age will begin, and they will be disturbed. Their kings will be intoxicated with the fiery sword, and they will wage war against one another, so that the earth is intoxicated with bloodshed, and the seas will be disturbed by those wars. Then the sun will become dark, the moon will cause its light to cease, the stars of the sky will cancel their circuits, and a great clap of thunder will come out of a great force that is above all of the forces of chaos, where the firmament of the woman is situated. Having created the first product, she put away the wise fire of intelligence and clothes herself with witness wrath. Then she will pursue the gods of chaos, whom she created along with prime parent. She will cast them down into the abyss. They will be obliterated because of their wickedness, for they will come to be like volcanoes and consume one another until they perish at the hand of the prime parent. When he has destroyed them, he will turn against himself and destroy himself until he ceases to exist. And the heavens will fall one upon the next, and their forces will be consumed by fire. Their eternal realms too will be overturned, and this heaven will fall and to break into 2. Something will fall down upon thee and support them. They will fall into the abyss, and the abyss will be overturned. The light will something the darkness and obliterate it, and it will be like something that has never been, and the product to which darkness has been posterior will dissolve, and the deficiency will be plucked out by the root and thrown down into the darkness, and the light will withdraw up its root, and the glory of the unbegotten will appear, and it will fill it all, the eternal realm. When the prophecy on the account of those that are king becomes known and is fulfilled by those who are called perfect, those who in contrast have not been perfect in the unbegotten Father will receive their glory in the realms and in the kingdom of the immortals, but they will never enter the kingless realm, for everyone must go to the place from which he has come. Indeed, by his acts and his knowledge, each person will make his own nature known. Okay, so that completes this particular scripture or text on the origin of the world. So, quite fascinating thus far between the Apocryphon and John, and here the origin of the world. We have characters that we don't hear about in the Bible. We don't hear about Yaldabaoth. We don't hear about the archons and the authorities. These seem to have been cut out. But so far we're 2 for 2. And I can assure you that as we continue to go through more of these texts and scriptures that are here, which we're going to continue to do, you will continue to hear these terms. So what we seem to have here is a story that's unfolded, showing us that Adam and Eve, and the story that we've been told, is much different. That the worlds have been created in other realms, and through the process of creation there came a time when this character Yaldabaoth was created. Whether he was created because the mother erred, or whether she was raped, still uncertain at this point in time. All that is known is that Yaldabaoth did come into being. There are some places where he is even described as even come into being on his own accord. Whatever the case may be, that being, whoever and however he came into existence, is the same being that runs planet Earth. So when we hear about the Old Testament and the God of the Old Testament, this is the God that we are hearing about. But it's not the God, the ultimate be-all, end-all, Father and Mother God. He's not that. He's simply, along the way, one of the grandchildren, so to speak. If we were to look at the hierarchy, from what I understand, we've got the Mother, Father, Barbello, the Mother, we have the Father. They create the Son, or son-daughter, the child, the autogens, also known as the Christ. The autogens went out and had a number of other lights that were created. These were 4 angel lights, or 4 other realms. Each of these realms had 3 other realms. If we think in terms of the mother and father had the child had 4, and each of the 4 had 3, and we break them down, we have grandparent and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And so if we look into the mix, it was somewhere down in the lineage, down towards where the grandchildren would be, where this took place, the situation. But at all times, in all these writings, we're continually reminded that the All-Father understands and knows all of this. So everything is happening in accordance with the divine will of the Mother and the Father, even though these events are taking place. So here we are upon this world that did become a physical world, is a place that was set up, as we understand, to be a prison for man. The human body is. However, there's many good things we've learned from the process. And the reason masters like Jesus have showed up is to show us that we can move past the limitations of this physical body that we've been trapped in. That we move past it, we rise out of it. And that's the whole idea. Things have been imperfect because we have had these demonic beings mixed together. We seem to be living in a world of good and a world of bad, good and evil, all here at one time together on planet Earth, and we certainly experience that. And as we go through the experiences, we grow, we get slowed down in our growth, we continue to grow, we meet the challenges. Well, the perfect man, the Adam, the Jesus, any who came along, came to show us what our true potential is. And we understand our true potential first and foremost when we understand that the God that is the be-all, end-all God of the universe is not the same one that is the creator God of this particular place we're in. It's not the creator of this body. The Spirit of God flows through this body, but there were others involved, Yaldabaoth, Sabaoth, all of those that were just mentioned. So it's a lot to think about. Where we, put our understandings of who our creators are. I guess the first important point is that we were created. It seems that those who are the creators of the body of this earth have some skills to be able to do something like that, and therefore, we should have some degree of appreciation for them and for that. However, if along the lines they are here simply as slave lords, that's something that after the appreciation of having the vehicles and the bodies that we might want to move past. Maybe even having the body might not be such an appreciative thing after all, if indeed we are just trapped here. But whatever the case may be, we seem to be at a point in time when we are going to make a huge transition. This planet is transitioning, and we're changing, we're evolving into the beings that we were created and destined to be, not destined to be by the creator gods here, the false creator God, but the actual God who has a plan, the mother and the father. Because through foreknowledge, this plan of what's going to happen is there. It's available to them at all times. And so that's part of the mix. So there's a lot here to really understand, and I hope that I'm understanding enough of it that what I'm trying to explain is making some sense. But we're going to continue on with some more of these readings. I think the next one we'll start tomorrow with the hypostasis of the archons to get a little bit more into this, because it certainly seems like this subject of the archons is very important. One, it's very important because so many that are here in this library, in this Nag Hammadi Library, are discussing it, so many of these texts. So first question is, why are they finding it so important that they talk about? The second is because there's no evidence of it in the Bible where it talks about this. I'd have to ask, well, why is it they aren't talking about it when all of these others are? Why have they gone so far as to completely remove it? That in itself seems to be somewhat of a conspiracy. Why would you move something that all of those who came before, and teachers like Jesus, the apostles, the various others who have written and contributed to these writings, they thought it was so important? Why did man think it was not important to know? Unless, of course, the influence is from the archons that we're reading about that are saying don't write about these things, that they prefer to be in the darkness away from humankind's thought. But too late. Gig's up. Light shining on them, we know, and we're going to continue to know. Because if it was good enough for Jesus to understand and talk about, well, guess what? It's good enough for all of us to understand and talk about. And that's just the way it is in my reality. All right, let's move on from here. I have an article today. This one's called Learning to Live Vibrationally. It's over at in5d.com. Tons of articles there. I go there every day because I know that they have a good info. This comes from C.J. Martez. We exist in a world comprised of many different forms of stimuli. Our lives are filled with a myriad of different energies. When we are born on this planet, our perception of these energies is sometimes limited as we struggle to overcome the starkness of physical existence compared to our etheric existence in other dimensions. The world is truly a melting pot of not only different types of humans, but also different types of energy and vibration. We are entering a time now where our previously limited perceptions are expanding towards an evolution in consciousness. Our blinders are being removed to reveal a world full of depth that we existed within, yet we did not realize due to much of the world's stimuli that works against our etheric energy at all times and clouds our vision. Shifting our perceptions to the dynamics of energy all around can be difficult. The key to shift slightly to understanding the existence and incorporate more energy concepts in our lives. By recognizing that each individual has a unique energy, that plants and animals have their own, that emotions, feelings, and words convey energy, and so on, we can transform our perceptions. By expanding our consciousness this way, we accept that we receive energy and vibration throughout our day. Once we view these dynamics, we can begin to assess how we feel in relationship to these energies. We can then form trust with our instincts and feelings as we learn that our reactions and feelings are based on our interpretations of energy between ourselves, this world, and other dimensions. People who grow up in physical existence already fully aware and in tune with these energies learn to interpret them earlier and are hence more connected to the universal life source and the information it brings. These are psychics, mystics, healers, gifted ones of our world. The amount of awareness already built in is generally in relationship to life path of the individuals. Of course, there are no absolutes. However, if the tools are needed by the individual, then they can be already established, coming to a particular lifetime. Everyone is capable of learning to interpret energy and connecting to the universal energy if it is in their highest desire to do so. So that you can begin to shift your own perceptions, here's a sample illustration to illustrate a common energy dynamic and one that causes frustrations for many of us. You are waiting at a red light at a busy intersection. You see a car coming up to the intersection headed your direction in this lane next to you. The light turns green and you push on your accelerator to proceed across the intersection. The car in the lane beside you approaches quickly and leaps past you, then cuts you off. Several seconds later, the car hits its brakes and slows down to turn into the next street. You are upset and startled. The situation occurred quickly, was over the moment the car in front of you turned. Now you are driving on, and how do you feel? A common response to this question would be angry, mad, frustrated, frantic, and so on. Could you see the energy dynamic in the above situation? To say that the behavior of the individual in the other car was rude and upsetting or get mad and to yell is not necessarily an incorrect response to the situation. However, let's take it a step further and look at what's going on energetically. First, the person in the other car has their own energy. They are traveling at a high rate of speed in a vehicle. Let's just imagine for a moment that's what's happening with energy as you sit in your car while the force of energy is coming up behind you. Your etheric self can feel the wave of energy moving towards you well before it reaches you. Then the wave arrives, not only the momentum of energy of the individual, but their thoughts and their feelings as well. This could be late or worried about getting somewhere, but all of these lower vibrations cross you as the individual is even with you on the road. As they pass and they move in front of you, their energy surrounds you. As a being made of energy, you can imagine how the reaction you would have such an energy force coming at you and surrounding you. This is where our emotions come into play. Our emotions are reactions that can be a counter move to stimuli as we experience it. Often when energy comes at us, this is forceful and a lower vibration. We often match the vibration we are receiving in order to reach a balance with the invading energy. So when the car came forward to cut you off, your etheric reaction was to emit an emotional energy in order to accommodate the new vibration you're receiving. Our etheric bodies are wonderful adapters to situations. In the physical world, we call this type of reaction fight or flight. In a similar way, our etheric body can match a vibration in order to maintain a balance of energy. We can teach ourselves over time that we do not have to necessarily match the vibrations of others, but can hold our own vibration in balance and harmony instead. This comes with practice and a willingness to hold the highest vibration in the universe of unconditional love. You can now apply the same view to other interactions in your life. Understanding the energy dynamics in your life is a key to full awakening of your etheric self in this world. We can also assist others with their own spiritual transitions if we all begin to open our hearts to understanding the energy between us. As you open in the future to the energy in your life, a dramatic shift will occur as you gain greater empathy for people through your utilization of these vibrational concepts. When you view the energy involved in a particular situation, it becomes less and less about he said, she said, or me and them, and more about being one with the collective vibrations of the universe. We can all help to remove the judgments from our world by incorporating energy and living more vibrationally in the years that follow. Okay, it's a good article, and it ties right into all of the other information that we've been getting from the Nag Hammadi texts, because we now have an understanding of who these forces of darkness are out there. They're the archons, they're the demons. We understand how they were created and put in this world. So we have a world here that is a mix of good and bad. Those wanting to move through life, not because they're bad individuals, but because they're ignorant. That's the big key right there, ignorance. And there are those who are aware and want to move through. And these two forces are operating together here on planet Earth. So we feel every day the effect of others' energy. This article is very significant to that effect. And so we really need to understand how we are being affected, how we affect others. Sometimes it's not what others say and do to us. It's the way that we react, or what we say and do to what others say and do, that is the real test. And We all go through that each and every day. So this is good info just to kind of help us understand what's going on and mix it with the understanding of the archons and the demons and the forces that are out here. We understand that they really don't have any power over us. It's just all our energy fields that we allow ourselves to become affected, and then we believe that we are powerless in that regard. And all of those are illusions. That's part of the ignorance that we're needing to overcome. The ignorance of not knowing that we can evolve. But that time is past because we can all evolve. All right, here's our message for today. It comes to us from the Arcturians.
Malign Portula Fund, reminder and reflection of the moment from the Arcturians,
January 27, 2015.
The Arcturians.
This now period revolves around all what you are, your heart center. This is what it is all boiling down to, and where drastic impulses and changes are going to occur. The build-up of the elevated collective is in its growth process and nears its full glory, therefore, all focus should be placed on this because it is utterly crucial and important now. A lot of portals have opened themselves, lots more are about to be opened, and energetic vortexes will be activated. What is about to occur in the now is very crucial and will be responsible for your future now. As humanity, you will be accountable for your own creations and for the global changes, just because this is your process and your reality. The already opened portals and the activated vortexes will provide pleasurable as well as very intense changes. You all carry these energies and portals within you through the connections and the integrations you have with the whole of the cosmos and with this universe as your galactic aspect and your light aspect. The inner portals have to do with your consciousness and your integration of self. The more enlightenment and awakening take place, the more the inner connection with yourself becomes a fact, and when that takes place, the inner portals will get activated in yourself, as well as outside yourself in the universe, because you reflect your inner to everything that is outside of you. That is the truth. You all are walking portals in incarnation, grounding everything that you are into beloved Gaia. The minute this is seen as your truth and as yourself, a huge wave of energy will pass through your incarnation and through your heart, providing the necessary adrenaline to continue on and to magnify what you are. Hence, these times can be very challenging, and it will be very important to be able to balance with all the light, all the love and all the cosmic rays and energies that will now overflow your planet and your embodiments with all that is. Blessings, the Arcturians.
All right, good message from the Arcturians, or Arcturians. Okay, this is a warrior of light. Today's message. A warrior of light shares his world with the people that he loves. He tries to encourage them to do things that they would like to do, but for which they lack the courage. At such time, the enemy appears holding two wooden signs in his hand. One sign, it is written, "Think about yourself. Keep all the blessings for yourself, otherwise you'll end up losing everything." The other side reads, "Who do you think you are, helping other people? Can't you see your own faults?" A warrior knows that he has faults, but he knows too that he cannot do his growing alone, and thus distances himself from his companions. Therefore he throws the two signs on the floor, even if it thinks they may contain a grain of truth. The signs crumble into the dust, and the warrior continues to encourage those nearest him. And isn't that really kind of the trick here with life? Okay, as we're understanding, we do have these characters, these archons, these authorities or rulers. They're not our authorities or rulers, they're just names and terms that were used for them. But here they are, and they're moving through life, and we have ways that we are discouraged often. We need to encourage ourselves. When we find other people that are like-minded, we bond together with them, and we find ourselves working together in different groups of individuals. And I think the more that we do that, the more we understand how the world has been divided. We start to see who those in life that are the supportive ones, who are the archons in life, who are those who are working to slow the progress down and maintain this illusion of ignorance. We can move past them, we can move on. So that's the whole idea. We need to keep encouraging each other, Because if we don't, we end up running into our challenges like, all the sadness and the doubts and the fears that go into this world. And there's plenty of those, but alongside them, there's plenty of faith and hope and love and charity and abundance. We just forget to see that because all of the other stuff creates an illusion, and we get caught up in the illusion. So that brings us to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. And one more. And exhale. Now imagine yourself walking through life. And you're seeing clearly everyone that you encounter. Everyone that you pass, you're able to see their field of energy. So just focus in right now on seeing the energy fields of those you are passing, those you see. And as you look closely, just imagine around their bodies this energy coming off of them. And you can look and you can see a bit more about what they are about. And you stop and you look in a mirror and you look at yourself and you look at the energy field that you're giving off. A combination of all of the chakras from the bottom of the spine upward that are open and acting to send the energy through effectively. So as you think positive thoughts and you open up your chakras, you notice that your aura, your energy field becomes bright. And when you become fearful and doubting, you start to feel dark and your energy field changes. So you bring your energy field up to that nice, positive, happy place. You walk throughout the streets and you just notice and look. And by observing how other people's energy field is, you are able to decide where you're going to go, what you're going to do, how you are going to interact. And as we continue to pay attention to the energy fields we're interacting with, we find ourselves having communication that is smoother and easier because we are coming from a place of understanding, an understanding based on simply looking at the energy that is being put off. So let's just imagine sending positive vibrations, love, and positivity throughout the world this day. And let's send this love and positivity out in prayer and hopefulness that it goes and reaches all of those in need to bring clarity to their thoughts, to their mind, to their life. And let's just keep sending this positivity all around the world. And let's just make this our effort as we go through the day. Just to see the energy fields of those around us and just send positive vibes out to each and every one. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey and bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. And that is it, my friends. That's our show for today. Thank you very much for being here. All the links for the show are available at firstcontactradio.com. So you can go through, you can reread through the info and kind of see where we're going, what we're doing. But it all ties in. It all ties in, and I think, at least for myself, I find that the more I know, the more it helps me to understand how to use my energy better. And I'd imagine, since we're all connected, that same thing goes for you as well. So, any thoughts you have on all of this, send them my way. Let me know what's going on. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.